Much has been said about the Samsung Galaxy S23, and especially the Ultra model is in the focus of many people, but there are still people who are looking for compact smartphones, and therefore I have taken the normal Samsung Galaxy S23 model and tested it for you for over 2 weeks. What I think of it, I tell now, and if you want to see more such videos, like and subscribe not forgotten. The specs probably already know each of you. Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, 6.1-inch OLED display, in-display fingerprint sensor, 3900 mAh battery, 8GB of RAM and minimum 128GB storage, but with UFS 3.1, and from 256GB up you get UFS 4 memory. But the specs of smartphones are very similar nowadays, and the question of how the smartphone performs in everyday use is much more important. Before we get to the performance, let's say a few words about the design. The Galaxy S series already looked very good last year, and that will remain the case this year as well. Not too much has changed, only the cameras are now placed separately and there's no extra element for them. The materials are of the usual high quality, and what I like much better about the S23 compared to the iPhone, for example, is the positioning of the front camera. Sure, the iPhone has more technology in the notch or dynamic island, but the front of the S23 looks much cleaner and more elegant. Since I'm not rich and therefore use tempered glass on my smartphones, I really like that the S23 does not have such rounded edges as the S23 Ultra. The S23 feels very good in the hand, and I think it is one of the most beautiful smartphones currently. What should we actually say about the performance? We can actually keep it short because the S23 is currently probably the fastest Android smartphone on the market. I have run benchmarks and the S23 is always at the top of the list. All apps open very quickly, you navigate quickly through all menus, and the apps also stay open in the background for a long time. Samsung promises Android updates until 2026 and security updates until 2028. So you will have fun with the device for a long time. The most important thing about smartphones these days is probably the cameras, and Samsung has been at the forefront of this for years. This year is no different. You have a 12 megapixel ultra wide lens, a 50 megapixel main lens and a 10 megapixel zoom lens that covers everything. There's no autofocus and therefore no macro mode, which would have been nice. I tried to make some nice photos and videos in this rainy and foggy city, and I think the results are impressive. I'm going to show the photos now so you can see for yourself. I've tried all the lenses and the images are unedited. course, the S23 Ultra has a lot more to offer, especially in terms of zoom, but even the regular S23 is one of the best cameras out there. However, if you have an S22, you shouldn't expect a big improvement, the differences are small. The battery, on the other hand, definitely shows an improvement. The battery is larger than on the S22 and the processor is more efficient, which means you can easily get through the day, and those who use their smartphone less can also get over 1.5 days. However, you have to criticize the charging speed, because with 25 watts you are far behind the Android competition. While you can get 50% in 30 minutes, but by that time the competition has already fully charged. As a conclusion, I would say that with the S23 you get a solid flagship smartphone with only a few weaknesses. The biggest point of criticism for me would be the price and the slow loading speed, but otherwise you get a top smartphone that you can have fun with for a long time.